PBHP, Dhamma classes, students of secondary school, teachers, parents, and grandparents. A very good morning to all of you. Today, we are going to present a topic entitled Learning from Chinese Proverbs. You can see here the PowerPoint, but we have not launched it yet. Now, this is particularly suitable for secondary students, youths, and also teachers. But there may be some primary school students who are pretty good and they can understand some of the proverbs. So, we will learn important moral lessons and also many good Dhamma teachings from discussing these Chinese proverbs, their meanings, and I will do some comments on the proverbs. So let us now launch the PowerPoint. But before that, let us check the setup to see that it is okay. Right, okay. So now we can launch the PowerPoint. Learning from Chinese proverbs. Actually, you have many good ones, right? Like here, failure is not failure, but failure to get up after you have fallen. This is an example of a good proverb. Now, let us look at the next one. But before that, I think I take off the video showing my appearance, right? And stop the video here. So now you can see the slides better. Now, learning from Chinese proverbs. You see, you have many good ones. This is just introduction. Like for example, if you stand straight, do not fear a crooked shadow. This actually implies that if you do not do bad things, you are morally upright, you follow good ethics, then there's nothing to be afraid of the bad consequences. You can sleep soundly, you have a good conscience, right? That is important. And then you have another one. He who strikes the first blow admits he's lost the argument. Some people, they are not patient and tolerant. So in an argument, they fight, right? They use their fist. Then you have lost already. You should actually explain gently your views and your arguments. So that's also a very good proverb, right? Then you have another good one. The man who moves a mountain, right, begins by carrying away small stones. Yes, you want to do something great, you're going to start at the basic. You have to have the foundation, right? So, little things you have to do first, clear away the little things that obstruct before you start off a big project, isn't it? You cannot just launch when you are not ready yet, right? To clear minor obstructions and so on. And then another very good one, with money you can buy a clock but not time. Yes, with money you can buy very expensive clocks and watches, but you cannot buy time. Time is irreversible. Once it's gone, that's all. It will not come back, isn't it? So that's why we have to value time, to not waste the time away. So you see a very good message, isn't it, from this proverb. Now let's look at this one. A little impatience will spoil great plans. Yes, right? Patience is a very important virtue. If we do not have patience, then many of the projects that we do will fail. In fact, you find great inventors and scientists have patience. Remember, I told you the story of that person, Thomas Edison, right? Who invented the electric bulb. He was so patient. He tried so many times, I think hundreds of times, failed. And then the friends discouraged him, asked him to give up. But he said, no, every so-called failure teaches me something. I will try again. And I think he tried hundreds of times before he could succeed. And now we have the electric bulb. So if he had been impatient, then you will not succeed in inventing the electric bulb, isn't it? So remember, whatever you do, you must be patient. And in terms of Dhamma, sometimes, of course, you experience hardship. You cannot get all the fun and pleasure and happiness all the time. Sometimes pain comes, sometimes sorrow comes, suffering comes, but everything will pass, isn't it? So we have to be patient and have endurance. Then you can move forward. So that's very important. People who are impatient will flock in many things they do, and they may have great plans, but then the plans cannot be carried out successfully because of impatience. There's another one that also I think appears in Taoism. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Sometimes a project or a task seems to be very great, very big, very challenging. You see, ayo, so difficult, how long it will take, this and that. That's being negative. You find that when you want to make a journey, a long journey, you still have to start by a single step, isn't it? So step by step, then eventually you win the race. Just as the story of the tortoise and the hare, isn't it? The tortoise, very steady, step by step. In the end, with patience, confidence, steadiness, he wins the race. Whereas the hare was proud. I think you know the story. Right? He went to sleep for some time. So do not be afraid of the challenges that face you. Right? As long as you start and you keep on, you will achieve your goal. That is a very important thing. And this is shown by the great works of scientists and inventors. Then you have this one. A smile will gain you 10 more years of life. Now, people who smile and then have a sense of humor, these sort of people, they will probably be more healthy physically and mentally because laughter is good for health, right? When you smile, then it shows maybe your mind state is better, all right? So you can have better health and live longer compared to a person that is always having a frown, he's worried always, he cannot have a sense of humor, he doesn't laugh. So such people will be under great stress, isn't it? So his mental health will be affected. So we must learn to smile and look at life in lighter vein. Some people take life too seriously, you see, and to the extent that they get so troubled, worried, and stressed out. And then they get themselves into a mess. We have many, many cases now, especially in these challenging COVID-19 times. So many get stressed out, you see, right? Then another one, behave towards everyone as if receiving a guest. Now, when a guest visits you, of course, you treat the guest with great hospitality, isn't it? You welcome him into the house, and then you offer him drinks, and then maybe you have tidbits and so on, some simple food also. So, what about people who don't go to your house or your homes and guests, but you meet outside or you relate to them in your maybe your school or maybe in the work environment? You also should be very, very hospitable, very warm, full of metta, loving kindness. Then you find you have good relationship with other people, isn't it? So this is also a very good proverb. Behave towards everyone as if receiving a guest. A fall into a dish makes you wiser. Uh, of course, why do people fall into drains or ditches or fall down? Probably a lack of mindfulness, accident, no doubt. So lack of mindfulness, carelessness. So you fall into the ditch. But then if you are able to learn, then you become wiser, isn't it? So you learn from your mistakes or you learn from your lack of mindfulness. But there are people who never learn, right? They make the mistakes. They should actually reflect on the mistakes and make the sort of aspiration or determination not to make the mistakes again. But these people, they don't pay attention, so they make the mistakes again and again. I had one student, when he was in Form 3, he told me he had already lost previously his IC, I think, 5 times already, 5 times. Oh gosh, right? Now I'm an old man now. I have never lost my IC before because we take care. But even let's say you have lost once, then you have to be careful already, isn't it? You learn from the mistakes. But there are people who don't will learn from the mistakes. I know I have students who don't keep their appointments, or they don't carry out the project given to them, and then they will always say, "Sorry, brother. Oh, sorry, brother. Oh." Very easy to say sorry, brother. Oh, but the same mistake keeps on being repeated. So, sorry, being saying sorry, all this is quite useless. We must make the aspiration not to repeat the mistake. Of course, people sometimes make mistakes, but to keep on making the same mistakes, then it gives a very bad impression on you, isn't it? There is another one that says, better a diamond with a flaw than a pebble without one. Now you compare a diamond and a pebble. A diamond, is a very, very expensive precious stone, or more expensive than the gold, isn't it? Whereas a stone is a pebble you can find in the stream, or maybe on certain grounds and so on. So if you have a diamond, even though the diamond has a flaw, maybe it's not completely polished, so they may, in Malay they call it a chala, a flaw, not perfectly smooth, but it's still very valuable, isn't it? Whereas a pebble, it can be very, very smooth, right? Without any scratches, without any lines. But you think it will be as expensive as the diamond with a flaw. No, isn't it? Right? So from here we can see that very important we cultivate our character, our morality. So of course we may have certain imperfections or weaknesses. Doesn't matter. By and large, we know you are a person of good character. There might be some flaws. Nobody is perfect, right? Of course, that is something very good. People will look up to you because generally you have a very good character. Whereas some people on the surface, wow, very, very polished lah. Wow, well dressed lah, good looking lah, got the makeup lah, or whatever it is. But inside, actually, not only one flaw, but many, many flaws. So you see, so this proverb also conveys some very important points. Let's look at the next one. He who asks is a fool for 5 minutes, but he who does not ask remains a fool forever. It's a quite interesting proverb. Uh, you see, sometimes people laugh at what you ask, but you actually sincerely don't know, right? Like for example, if somebody were to ask the teacher, why is the sky blue? People, some stupid fools may think that this is a fool asking. It's not a fool actually. There may be some who regard him as a fool, but he's thinking. He wants an answer, right? So you don't bother if other people think you a fool, right? Then after that, when the answer is given, then people say, "Well, this girl very smart. He asked the question that actually can be answered in terms of science. Why is the sky blue?" But a person who does not ask at all, always keeping quiet, then he remains a fool. He remains an ignorant person, not knowing. Seperti kata di bawah tempurung. Now, in the Buddha's teaching, in the middle line discourses, or what we call Majjhima Nikaya, the scripture, somebody asked the Buddha, why is it that some people are born so intelligent, so wise, whereas others are born right from the start, very, very dumb, very foolish, silly, very stupid. He learns very, very slowly. Why is it like that? And according to the Buddha's answer, he said, this of course has to do with also previous lives and the karma. He said people who don't ask questions, especially those questions that pertain to important things like Dhamma lah. Of course, the most important is Dhamma. If they don't clarify, why is it that doing this thing is bad? What are the things that we should do when we die already? What happens? What is rebirth? What is a realm of existence? Are there deva? So many Dhamma questions that people who ask and ask. These people will accumulate the knowledge, and in next lives, in future lives, they can be born smart, clever, and wise. Whereas another person, he doesn't know all these things. He doesn't ask. So forever is like a fool, right? You ask him, you don't know, and he has no interest, inclination to find out. So you see, the person who does not ask remains a fool forever. That's a good problem. Take a second look. It costs you nothing. Ah, it's very true. There is an English proverb that says, look before you leap, isn't it? I mean, you want to cross the road, you have to look left, look right, look left again, right? So, in order to be sure of things, many things actually, you need to be observant and then take a closer look to make sure, for example, nothing is in danger before you take on the task. Or maybe you want to examine what you set out to do again. It costs you nothing. But some people, they are very slow. Okay lah, this one can work one lah. Then the mistakes come because they have not checked, they have not re-examined the thing again, not taking a second look. So this is also an important point, a life lesson we can learn, isn't it? Now let's look at this. An inch of time is an inch of gold, but you can't buy the inch of time with an inch of gold. It's just like just now we say, right? Time lost is lost forever already. You can buy, and just now remember, I started by telling you that one. You can buy expensive clocks with all the money you have, but you cannot buy time. Time is irreversible. Can you bring back yesterday? You can't, isn't it? Well, some people say, "Ayah, you know, yesterday or when the years past, I should have done that, I should have done this." It's already past, it's gone, right? You regret everything, no point. So the attitude should be, oh, last time I made a mistake. I wasted the time away. I did some foolish things. Okay, now I know already. I have learned from my mistakes of the past. So I make a resolution. I say, I will not repeat that mistake, right? So this time, I will be careful. I will value the time, the present moment, the present time, very important. And then positive people will keep on now doing the positive things. Mistakes done in the past, gone already. So time lost, gone forever, isn't it? So the problem is quite good because an inch of time you can't even buy if you have an inch of gold. That means, in other words, all the gold in the world you can't buy, just the time that you have lost in the past. The next one, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Now, what he's trying to tell you here is, if people had done good things in the past, then the present time will have the good fruits, isn't it? Let's say, you see, maybe 10 years ago, you had a good government or the rulers, they planted all the trees to give the shade and then also to protect the environment, have enough oxygen, more greenery. And now, of course, we have a good, clean environment, isn't it? So that will be good planning, something you really done in the past. But very often you find people careless, so they either forget or they have the tidak apa attitude, so they didn't do that. But now you have to start doing already. So that's the second best time is today to do the things that you should have done. It's already dead and gone already the past. So start doing it. Start taking care of the environment, for example. Or now also you have countries like China and so on. Wow, they plant hundreds and hundreds, thousands of trees. Maybe in the past there was so much destruction. So now the second best time is today to do it in the present. And then the next generation, I will get the rewards. right? They will get the pleasant things occurring because of the actions done by their maybe great grandfathers or grandfathers and so on. So this is something very good. So if you have not done something that should have been done in the past, you learn from it, learn the mistakes as I say, and then start doing it. That's the second best time. So this is the proverb. This one, what is that now? It says, the broad-minded see the truth in different religions. The narrow-minded see only the differences. Now, that is a good thing for religious harmony. You have different religions of the world, isn't it? Right? Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, right? And then Judaism. So many different religions. So there are different religions. There are some common things, right? So different people, they choose different religions. It's democracy, isn't it? Right? So we should not quarrel or fight in the name of religion. That's terrible, isn't it? That's why you have in Malaysia also the interfaith movement, where different religions representatives all come together, discuss the common things that can be done. In fact, all religions teach good. So we must have harmony, isn't it? If we fight against one another, then in the end, all will suffer. We practice our religions. Other people practice their religion. They have their belief. You have your belief, right? There are things which are common. So we respect each other. I don't say, oh, mine is better lah, yours is not so good lah, yours is wrong lah, mine is the truth lah. So if that's the case, then you find people will fight one another because each claiming his is the truth. So wisdom tells us that we live in harmony. We have metta for all. We practice our religions. Other people have the right to practice their religions. Of course, whatever religions they practice, they must make sure of certain fundamental things. They do not harm people. They respect one another. They have tolerance, right? They have metta, compassion. So all religions teach these good things. Only the narrow-minded see only the differences. Right? So these people have caused so much suffering in the course of history. One religion pitted against another religion. So you can have friends of different religions, right? You respect them, they respect you. We are all living in great harmony in a multiracial, multicultural, right, multi-religious societies. The world has so many religions also. So this is an important thing for you young people to know. Don't go and quarrel and fight over religious issues, isn't it? See the common things. In fact, there are common things which are very important. All religions teach goodness, isn't it? All religions would not like killing or stealing, isn't it? Emphasize on the common things. Then you have the other one. The day your horse dies and your money is lost, your relatives change to strangers. Of course, this is terrible in the sense that many people will be like that. So that's why you have also to choose your friends carefully, right? Good friends are hard to find. Remember the proverb, a friend in need is a friend indeed. But then you have nowadays fair weather friends or friends who are not really true friends or sincere friends. They are your friends because you have a lot of money or you have power or you have fame or maybe you have good looks or whatever lah. Not really good friendship. So the moment you don't have this, you lost your money, you lost your fame, bye bye already. The friends will run away already. It's not only for relatives, but it applies for all. So therefore, you have to choose your friends carefully. The Buddha said, right, in the Mangala Sutta, in one of the suttas, which is actually the discourse on blessings, the Buddha advises, right, do not associate with fools, associate with the wise ones, isn't it? So these false friends are like fools. They don't have good values. They stick around you because you have a lot of money and they may even lead you astray. So the Buddha warns against associating with fools. Fools doesn't mean the people who cannot study. Fools are the people who don't have the proper values, morality, and they go the wrong ways, leading you astray, to break your precepts, to commit crimes, and all those things. These are fools. They associate with the wise ones who have honesty, sincerity, they keep their precepts, they are helpful, they do dana, they have compassion. These are your real friends. They are the wise people. So you can apply it in your everyday life also. Let's look at the next one. Now, the man who does not learn is dark, like one walking in the dark. This one pertains to learning, right? So, you see, if a person does not learn, he's just like a dark person that maybe cannot be bright, cannot be seen. People shun him, right? In fact, in Dhammapada, I think one of the quotations was this, right? So the Buddha talks about a person who grows in the body only. Right? He just eats, sleeps, right? Eats, sleeps. The body grows, but the mind does not grow. The mind is like maybe a stupid animal. The body grows, but the mind grows not. So you find that it is so important to have learning. A person with learning, of course, for you young ones, you have your education. So important to learn. Learn as much as you can. One great person said that education is from the cradle to the grave, which means the moment you are born into the world, the education, learning starts. Even the baby coming out slowly through the senses is beginning to learn, responding to the outside world. And then this will go on until the graveyard, which means until death. But actually, it's not really the end because there is rebirth, right? And then you have to continue there. But today, very sad to say that many of the young ones seem to stop their learning after they have finished the university. They think, oh, we have got the degree, we have got the graduate gown and the bota, I graduated already. So they hardly continue the learning. They don't read much, they don't read books, right? Because they're busy making money only, right? So learning has stopped. So you find that is not good, especially in the changing world where knowledge goes up and up exponentially, so fast that if you don't keep up with the times, soon you'll be like, as I say just now, kata di bawah tempurung, right? So it is important to keep on learning through so many ways, right? Of course, many people have used the internet. They just use it to chit chat lah, or watch all those entertainment programs. So they say you can't do that. You can, but then they don't do other beneficial things like learning new thing, right? Or listening to good talks, right? Or you can actually even watch forums and seminars and all these on issues of the world. Now the net is so powerful. They're not interested. They just want to every time watch your K-pop, maybe I don't know, or BTC. Now they have fantastic one group after another. Then after that, last time was Gangnam Style, is it? Something like that. Now we have others already. So don't overdo that sort of thing, right? To indulge in the sensual delights, shutting off your learning process. Now, the next one is also important. The diamond cannot be polished without friction, nor the man perfected without trial. Now, this is a very important thing in terms of Dhamma, right? Now, let's say you have a diamond. The diamond needs to be polished, right? After you mine the diamond from the mine, maybe South Africa or whatever, which country, then you need to polish it. And you have to use something hard, something hard to polish the diamond and work at it until, wow, it's really shining, fantastic luster, brightness. beautiful diamond. But work has to be done, isn't it? And the work can be quite tough because there is friction involved. Friction suggests that there is hardship. You need to use a hard substance and then polish that diamond with the strength and the energy and so on. Then you get the product. So likewise, we are like diamonds inside us. Huh? You can say that each of us is like a potential Buddha, right? Can become a Buddha. That's why in Mahayana Buddhism, when we greet one another, we can say Ami Dopo, which means that I respect you as a potential Buddha. But because inside you are covered, or we are covered by all the defilements, all those nonsense things like greed, hatred, delusion, fear, worry, jealousy, right? Anger, ill will, ego, all the things cover your Buddha nature inside, your potential to become perfectly enlightened, right? So you need to polish that lah. Just like the diamond, in the sense that you need to cultivate, to remove all those defilements, those bad things. And this requires effort, energy, determination, hard work, diligence. So we need to cultivate. You think it's so easy to become right a man near enlightenment like a saint without really putting the work, right? Like doing good charity, or maybe your regular chanting with understanding, or studying what the Buddha taught, or meditation. All these require hard work without trials. That means without trials you cannot succeed. Trial will be suggesting challenges lah, right? Hardship that you have to go through. Then only you can be polished like a diamond. You are a polished diamond, and one day you become enlightened also. See, so that is this proverb. Let's look at the next one. Now, the man who removes a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. Now, initially, we explained this already. As I told you, it gets repeated here, right? And that means a person who maybe achieves greatness, or invents great things, right? Or maybe, he rises up the ladder in the field of science, or maybe in politics, or whatever field. You think one shot you can reach that great height? No, isn't it? You have to do the work from the bottom, just as you want to go or to remove the mountain. You have to start at the small stones, removing the small stone first. I think there is a quotation by this poet Longfellow that says, "The heights by which great men reached and kept, right, were hard at work while their companions were sleeping," right? Or you can say that while their companions were sleeping, these great people were toiling in the night. That means they were hard at work, and then they achieved the greatness. But their friends sleeping away. So we have to do the basic work, the starting work, then eventually, right, things will become better and better. Right? Well, there is a verse in Dhammapada, all right? And this one is a bit related. I say that if you want to fill a jar of water, you will say, yeah, so difficult, must go and carry the water. Even if it's drop by drop, the jar will eventually get filled, isn't it? So you do good little by little, then it adds up, and then the results are great. The effects are good. The fruits are big, isn't it? Uh, so that is this problem. There are many parts to the top of the mountain, but the view is always the same. Right? Now he's just trying to tell you that for a certain goal or a certain thing to attain, there may be more than one way to get at that thing, isn't it? Just as you want to climb up to the mountain, you may have different paths you can approach in this way, that way. Some will go by maybe helicopter, some will track up, some maybe use a type of cable car or whatever lah, right? But then you reach the top also. So this actually, some great people talk about religion this way, right? They say that, oh, different religions, but then they reach the top, reach the truth in their own ways also. And that is the way is quite good because it prevents a lot of conflict. Say that mine is better, yours not good. Mine can get to the top faster, yours cannot. How do you know? Isn't it? That is your view only. So you practice the best way. So you don't have to boast or don't have to go and preach like a fanatic people because people can see. If you practice the religion, whatever religion you have well, right? You have very little greed, you are very patient, you have little anger, and then you are very compassionate, you are full of metta, you are humble, you are helpful. Wow, people say, you, this person of religion X is very, very good. Whereas another person say, my religion is the greatest. But you see his character, he cheats, he tells lies, he's so greedy, and then he's so proud. So isn't it? So people can see. So no need to go and argue on and on. Just do the good things. That's what all the great teachers preach. Then in this way, people respect you. You gain the respect, isn't it? So that is also a very good point. Now, here, is that we are not so much concerned if you are slow as when you come to a halt. That is also a very good thing. It reminds you, right, of also the Aesop fable of the hare and the tortoise, right? So if you are slow, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you try your best, slow and steady wins the race. That's another problem, isn't it? Where some people work, work for 2 days, 3 days, and then come to a stop, rest for 2 weeks. How are you going to make progress? So likewise, also when we practice Buddhism or Dhamma, right, meditate. Oh, they're very, very interested for the beginning. Then after that, they rest for half a year. Uh, some also, they know they do chanting and so on. Then after that, they stop, they don't do already. Some go and do dana, give offerings to the mass. They say, I've done already, lah, and then stop already. But that is not the way to practice the religion or Dhamma. You got to be consistent and keep on doing it until we reach the goal. You cannot say, oh, I've helped people already and now no need already. Lah. Yeah. You just say, you might as well say that, oh, I've eaten rice later, then for the rest of the year, no need to eat already. Okay, the stomach be full, isn't it? So the practice must go on, whether it's giving dana, right, or whether it's keeping the precept. You say, oh, last time I kept the precept, I observed the 5 precepts, I observed really, and now no need. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Likewise for other things like studying the Buddha's teachings or meditation. So don't come to a halt, right? Slow study doesn't matter. Now, to get through the hardest journey, we need take only one step at a time, but we must keep on stepping. It's quite similar in a way, right? The journey may be very, very hard. Like I say, you want to walk the path like the Buddha did, 6 years of struggle to reach enlightenment. He went through all the ascetic practices, very hard, but very steadily he got that confidence. Eventually he got the enlightenment, he became the fully enlightened Sammasambuddho. So you have to take now mind, if one step at a time, but keep on stepping. As I say, don't take after 3 steps already, then it's come to a halt. And some even worse, not halt, but they go backwards. I know there. I've seen people like that. Youths also. Oh, last time they were in the camps, very active and contributed a lot. Now, it's another thing altogether. Some maybe convert the religion. Some so busy making money and bye Dhamma. I've seen so many of those cases. Then one day they will live to regret because they have lost the greatest treasure. Right? So we hope you don't make this statement. You live to regret one day. Learning is a treasure that will follow its own owner everywhere. Now, this learning, the most important point is the Dhamma learning. The Dhamma learning, the Dhamma practice, and the cultivation will go into your minds, and that will be your real treasure. All of us must die one day, right? So the body, is going to rot away. It consists of the four elements only. There are chemicals, everything, all they will go to dust, as the Christians say, from dust to dust. But what is gathered in the mind, right? More particularly, we are concerned with the Dhamma learning, the things that really matter, that what you have learned about what is wholesome good action, right? What you have learned about, uh, keeping the precepts, right? What you have learned about how to meditate to clear the mind, to make the mind still and concentrated and focused. So many good things you have learned in the mind, stored up there. So when the body dies, everything, but mind being an energy doesn't die. But you have learned all those things, and they will follow you from life to life. So that is your true treasure. But sad to say, people don't realize this. They only concern about the body as if the body will never die. They spend so much time and money, effort, everything on the body. Dye the hair lah, put all the various type of cosmetics lah, buy the most expensive clothes lah, got maybe 50 handbags lah, or 30 watches lah, all those things all for the body. But you ask them to cultivate the mind, to be more focused, to be calm, to be compassionate. No, nobody, very few like to be interested. Until the day comes that you have to go, right, through a sickness or through anything, old age or a terrible terminal illness like cancer, then after that you regret, oh, I have not really improved with my mind. That would be terrible, isn't it? So remember, Dharma learning is the treasure. So the next one, when eating bamboo sprouts, remember the man who planted them. This is what we call gratitude, right? Gratitude is a very important thing. The Buddha mentioned it in the scriptures, right? And in one of the scriptures, I think Anguttara Nikaya, the Great Gradual saying, the Buddha said there are two types of people very hard to find. One is a person who will be very spontaneous to go and do the good things. Don't have to ask the floor. The floor will go and do all the good things, help where help is needed. No need to ask one. Very hard to find these type of people. The second one is a person who is grateful. It's very true. Today you see so many are lacking in filial piety or who will earn, right? Gratitude also very lacking. They just assume, in kind, my luck, I'm clever, all this. But one day you need to regret. Because gratitude is a very fantastic virtue to practice. Then only your mind will be going up and up, gets elevated. You become more advanced spiritually. And that is the thing that will bring you from life to life. But there's a real treasure following you everywhere. Right? So this problem is good. When eating bamboo sprouts, remember the man who planted them, isn't it? Now we come to this end already. You can see that the wallpaper has animation. It's moving. It's moving. That makes it more interesting. People are so creative. So we are quite grateful also. We remember the people who created this, isn't it? Gratitude. So may we mindfully contemplate and reflect. Clear wisdom lies beyond the mere intellect. Now, people think that if you are very, very clever, that means you are very wise. Not necessary. There may be people who go to universities, they have very big degrees, masters, PhDs, and so on, and they become terrorists. And they become people who cheat the innocent people, the citizens of the country. They use the brains in the wrong way. So, very clever. They have the intelligence, but no wisdom. They may have the intellect, but they lack the wisdom and the compassion. And that would be a foolish life to lead because it generates bad karma, isn't it? And karma will follow you from life to life. So you may what that for a certain period of time now, you cheat people of so much money, right? You become famous and so on, but this will not last. It will come to an end. Suddenly you may die, or you may be struck by a terminal illness, or you know, somehow or other you get caught, you will be sentenced to jail and so on. So it doesn't pay. So when we know how to think and reflect this clearly, mindfully, then we know very important we have to develop our morality, develop our compassion, develop the wisdom, which all go beyond just the intellect, which means the so-called cleverness, right? So to develop the mind in terms of meta, morality, wisdom, everybody can do it. Not necessarily must go to the university they can do. In fact, they sometimes go to the university, they learn the things which in the end they use to cheat the knowledge, right? So now we have come to the end of this sharing. So I hope that you have learned important lessons from this presentation entitled Learning from Chinese Proverbs. Of course, those who know Chinese, you can look up for the words in you can actually do a Google Translate or so on, and you get the Chinese characters, right? Here I've done it in English. And in fact, if you're very interested in Proverbs, you have Proverbs all over the world, from different parts of the world. And many of them have great wisdom. You can use Google. This one, of course, I survey the Chinese Proverbs and pick some of these things which I feel are very useful. Of course, you can have English Proverbs, you have Indian Proverbs, you have, Proverbs, Arabian Proverbs, so many different countries. And they teach us life lessons. Many are teach us very good life lessons and wisdom. This is how we can learn and grow in the mind, not just growing in the body alone, right? The mind. And this is Dharma, right? So now we have come to the end of this already. The bell of the alarm has sounded already. So let us conclude. Before that, I would like to thank you and all the parents, grandparents, and teachers for taking time to follow this presentation, right? So to conclude, let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.